Hello and welcome to RIT 3029W, Business and Professional Writing. My name is Bridget Musock and I'll be the instructor for this class. Every week you will see an overview video like this one that will help orient you to what we're doing this week, what the focus will be, what the activities will be, or any major assignments you're expected to complete, and the readings, and just sort of check in on how things are going and things from the previous week. Because this is the first overview video, we don't have anything to check in about from previous weeks. So I'll spend most of the time going through the first module, week 1, the rhetorical situation, and sort of giving you an introduction to this class so that you have a better understanding of what to expect. So some things to know about this course. One, it moves very quickly and there's a lot of work to do. Business and Professional Writing is a writing intensive class. That little W designator after the 3029 indicates that you'll be doing a lot of writing, but also you'll be doing a lot of rewriting and revising. This class really emphasizes a recursive approach to writing. So you'll not only write things, but you will rewrite things, often with feedback from myself or from your peers. There's one assignment toward the beginning of the semester, which you will turn into me, which I'll submit feedback on, and you will revise it before you submit a final draft. 2 other major assignments will be part of a peer review. So the approach that we're taking for writing in this class is thinking about writing as a recursive process and really thinking about the importance of writing, drafting, revising, rewriting. You will be asked to do a lot of reflection and metacognition, which is just a way to say thinking about your thought process, writing about writing. And you will be asked to do that through peer review activities and reflective papers. I don't want to get too far ahead of where we are, but one thing to know about the class is that you will be asked to do a lot of writing and a lot of rewriting, so have that in mind going forward. Another thing to know about this class is it's an online class, and I will be asking you to do quite a bit of group work, so be prepared for that. How will we do group work online, you might ask? Many of you probably already have a lot of experience collaborating in online spaces, across time, across distance. So for some of you, this class will just be more of the same. For some of you, collaborating online or group work in general might be new or might be sort of intimidating, or maybe you've had bad experiences in the past. Don't panic. I will do what I can to help mitigate some of your fears or worries about collaborating in a writing class and collaborating online. While these things can certainly present a lot of challenges and frustrations, it's also very important to, in a class like this, work through those frustrations and come up with good strategies to collaborate with others. So much of business and professional writing happens collaboratively, and so much of our collaboration happens in online digital spaces. You'll often be asked to collaborate with people across distance, across time. So think of this class as sort of a safe space to try out different strategies and try out different technologies and different methods for collaborating with your group. 2 of the major assignments, the revision memo and the final group proposal, are going to be collaborative group assignments. In addition to those 2 assignments, you'll be asked to do a lot of lower stakes collaboration. Low stakes is what I call assignments that are not worth a whole lot of points. The intention of these assignments is not so much to assign a lot of points, but more to get you to practice things in a low stakes or laid back environment where you can sort of practice and fail, and that's okay. So some of the low stakes activities for collaboration will be peer review activities. This week's activity 1, analyzing a rhetorical situation, which you can see right here in our week 1 module, will also ask you to collaborate and to get to know your group. When I talk about collaborative writing, I don't only mean projects that you will actually co-write with other people, but when I talk about collaborative writing, I'm meaning collaboration in a more general sense. So anytime you receive feedback from someone else, anytime you give each other comments or help to think through or work through ideas together. These are different ways of understanding collaborative writing, and we'll be doing a lot of that in this class. So 2 things to take away so far. Lots of group work, get ready for that. Lots of writing and revising, ready for that as well. So getting to this week, and the focus of this week's work is the rhetorical situation, as you can see. If you don't know what that means, don't worry, you will learn what that means this week through our readings and activities. We will be taking a rhetorical approach to writing in this class, and at the end of reading this week's overview, the 2 assigned readings, doing this activity, you will understand what taking a rhetorical approach to writing means, and you will be able to apply some of what you've learned in analyzing a rhetorical situation. For each week, and you'll become more and more familiar as the course goes on, you'll see these modules laid out. So week 1 overview, if you click on that, it tells you what to expect, my little introduction, what this week will focus on, the main learning objectives, the tasks that you will need to complete, and then looking ahead to help sort of tie things together, what we're doing this week and what you'll be doing in future weeks. Here you can see the readings. This week we only have 2 readings. The first is from the Purdue Online Writing Lab, or OWL. If you're not already familiar with this source, it's a wonderful source for all kinds of writing advice and tips. I would definitely take some time to browse through it. This is going to be a reading that is probably not going to take you a lot of time. There's a PowerPoint presentation, slides that I'll ask you to click through. This is something that is written for student and learner consumption. It's mostly summary. It's meant to be scanned or skimmed and read quickly. The next reading of the 2 readings assigned this week is an article written by Bitzer entitled The Rhetorical Situation. This is going to be a more standard academic article that you may be used to reading in your other courses. This is going to be relatively dense and perhaps difficult to get through. I want you to think about, as you approach these 2 readings, how you get through them as a reader. So in other words, I want you to read these readings and focus on the content, be able to apply that content to the activity for the week, but I'd also like you to think about your experiences as a reader. So in other words, when you approach a reading like a text like a PowerPoint presentation, what is that experience like? How do you approach that kind of text? Do you go into it thinking this is going to take me a lot of time? I really got to block out a lot of time to read through this. If you're reading an online text, like a website, like the Purdue Online Writing Lab, are you more likely to skim? Are you more likely to pay attention to bold typeface or look for lists, things like that? And on the other hand, when you approach something like an academic article, what signposts do you look for to make that reading manageable? How do you work through a reading like this? So this is sort of that reflective metacognitive work that I'm going to ask you to practice all semester, where you are not only looking at the readings for content and understanding and applying that content knowledge, but also thinking about your experience as a reader interacting with these different texts. I will come back to this this week. You'll read more about this, so I don't want to get too into that as I do the overview. Week 1, this is a low-stakes activity. It's only worth 10 points. This is not one of the major assignments, but this activity is going to essentially get at 3 things. 1, you are going to introduce yourself to your group. This group will be who you will work with for peer review, and also who you'll work with for the final project of the semester, which is the group proposal. 2, this activity is going to ask you to utilize perhaps a new digital technology called Flipgrid. I'm going to ask you to make a video, much like this one. And finally, this activity asks you to apply some of what you've learned in this week's readings. So you can read through this. To reply or to submit, you'll reply here and upload a file of your video. And then finally, after you complete that activity, every week you will see a wrap-up where I summarize what we've done this week, and again, sort of preview what's coming. So each week in this course will really build off of the knowledge from previous weeks. As I said before, we're taking a rhetorical approach to writing, and you'll learn what that means this week. Next week, we're going to focus more on different genres in business and professional communication. Understanding the rhetorical situation and understanding what it means to take that rhetorical approach to different writing situations is really going to be foundational to everything else you do in this class. So this week is important. Give yourself time to really read through the readings and resources and to really not only complete this activity, but to watch the videos from your group members, and hopefully that will be useful to you. So this week's overview is a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. I'm going to keep these brief and manageable, and again, hopefully these will be more useful to you than anything else to help orient yourself in this online space. Think about, again, your experience as consumers of this video text. So some of what I'm saying here you will read again in the week 1 overview, and you will see again as I describe the readings and the activity. Think about the different ways in which you approach a text that is a video versus a text that is a wall of text versus a text that is a website versus something like an academic article. You don't have to do anything with that yet, but start already kind of getting into the mindset of doing that reflection. Your experience as a reader in these situations, what is that like? So, welcome again to RIT 3029W. I'm looking forward to get to know each of you in this class through your writing and through your videos and your work. Try to have fun with the technology that we're using. Try to play with it a little bit, especially if it's new to you. Don't worry about making mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes making this video, and that's fine. Think again about how you're going to make collaboration happen with your group in an online space. We're going to try out a lot of different things, and you'll find what works for you, what works for your group. Stick with that. And happy writing.